Under the mysterious blue sky, ruined buildings create a desolate scene after a devastating destruction. On the shattered ground, a silver-white car sits abandoned. Its tires off the axle doors dented and flung open, revealing an emergency warning voice from a crackling radio box. Level 4 Monster Bento has appeared at the Shio-da-Moon intersection. The response team includes Level 2 awakened Gam Sang-hoo, and the car is shaking violently as the sound continues. Outside, 6 to 7 giant monsters roar, their greenish-white skin, patchy mouths full of sharp teeth, all charging forward together. At the other end, a small figure with a spear in hand charges straight in cloak, billowing. Kim Sun-gu has gotten close to them. Up close like this, those ancient creatures seem even more terrifying. They tilt their heads back, exposing their bulging bellies. Suddenly, the bento gets agitated and roars as if sensing danger. Kim Sun-gu swings his spear through the air, slicing right through the bentos. He clicks his tongue. Just 10 of them, and it feels like my eardrums are about to burst. With that, his staff bursts with power. Purple electric sparks surround his body, full of surging energy. Kim Sun-gu leaps up, gripping his staff tightly, ready to launch a spear strike that lights up the sky. Energy blurs the space, making the long-snouted bento suddenly seem odd to Kim Sun-gu. He senses a powerful force approaching rapidly. From far away, a massive energy wave is rushing in like a tide. The herd of bentos is sliced to pieces before they can even move. In just a few seconds, the spear flashes with blinding purple electricity, still surging with inner power. Kim Sun-gu stands frozen, watching the bentos get wiped out. Everything happens so fast that he just blurts out, "What the heck?" So the bentos' heads are severed from their bodies, quick and clean, right in front of Kim Sun-gu and his teammate. She exclaims in awe, "Captain, you're amazing, taking down that many bentos with just one strike." Taking down that many bentos with just one strike. But Kim Sun-gu frowns, looking thoughtful. He immediately denies it. "That wasn't me." The woman widens her eyes in surprise. Kim Sun-gu continues, "I'm not the main damage dealer like the Sword Queen, who specializes in wide-area attacks." Sensing something, he turns his head to observe. The woman next to him still doesn't get what Kim Sun-gu is doing. He turns back and asks, "Is there any other awakened unit deployed here besides us?" His teammate replies blankly, "No, I haven't heard of any." Hearing that, he strokes his chin and wonders, "That's weird. As far as I know, no one in the country has power at this level." His teammate is still clueless about what's going on. The woman next to him sees the pile of pure purple magic stones left behind and wonders, "They took down the monsters but left the magic stones. That's the most valuable part." Kim Sun-gu is just as confused. "Damn, what the hell is going on here?" He crouches down, thinking silently, analyzing. From the clean cuts on the bentos, it was definitely an awakened who did this. In Kim Sun-gu's mind, he pictures someone hiding in the shadows with power at least A level, maybe even level 5, vanishing without a trace. What's their purpose anyway? Kim Sun-gu looks around and decides, "For now, let's collect the magic stones and contact headquarters to call in the cleanup team." The woman on his team responds, "Captain." At that moment, he glances in a certain direction. Kim Sun-gu sees a clean restaurant in the ruins and thinks, "A place called the restaurant." He approaches the restaurant. Kim Sun-gu looks up and muses, "If that weirdo only took the bento's breasts and messed up the bodies, should have fallen over here too." He chuckles, "The owner sure got lucky." Kim Sun-gu thinks about it and lets it go. He stretches, "Let's go, I'm in the mood for a drink." On the damaged car, a few small birds perch peacefully. Kang Jun-ho towels his hair as he casually descends the stairs. He opens the door, and outside is still a scene of ruins. Kang Jun-ho heads to the restaurant and pulls the door open. He skillfully turns on the industrial stove, then places a pan on the fancy setup. He opens the fridge and searches, finding all sorts of things inside, including magic stones next to onions and cilantro under a cloth. Kang Jun-ho puts his hands on his hips and ponders. He looks at the fatty piece of meat on the table and wonders, "Did I cut up too many bentos?" Thinking about it, Kang Jun-ho recalls the shark bento. "They've probably been collected by now, or maybe I'll make some jerky." Lost in thought, he's suddenly startled by a knock on the door and an urgent voice. "Is Kang Jun-ho here?" Yes, Kang Jun-ho calmly goes to open the door. A man in a suit carrying a briefcase introduces himself before Kang Jun-ho can say anything. "I'm from the Awakened Association." "You're Kang Jun-ho, right?" Kang Jun-ho puts his hands in his pockets and admits, "Yes." Choi Jae-oh continues politely, "A herd of bentos just attacked this area." His tone is steady. "Luckily, they were dealt with quickly, but you must have been terrified." "Yes." Choi Jae-oh explains his visit. "I'm here to check if you suffered any damage." Kang Jun-ho rubs his head, a bit embarrassed. "Oh yeah, it's just an everyday thing now." Hearing that, the official just gives an awkward smile, a bit resigned. People say the world is a lot more stable now, but stuff like this still happens now and then. Luckily, there aren't many residents around here, so the damage isn't too bad. He was about to say more, but a whiff of sauce aroma hits lighting up Choi Jaeho's eyes. He inhales deeply. That smells amazing. Completely ignoring Kang Joon-ho standing there with his arms crossed looking bored. He casually remarks, well, it is a restaurant. Choi Jae-ho awkwardly says, if the place is open, can I get some breakfast? I've been running around since dawn and haven't eaten anything. Hearing his sincere words, Kang Joon-ho smiles lightly. Sure, come in. Inside the restaurant, he pauses a bit. Choi Jae-ho is surprised by the simple, cozy, and spotlessly neat interior. Everything is so clean it sparkles. He can't help but exclaim, this is just like a diner from those movies before the portals appeared. Choi Jae-ho fumbles around for a bit but doesn't see what he needs. He hesitates and asks, oh, I don't see a menu. Can you show me the menu? Kang Joon-ho heads to the kitchen and calmly replies, we don't have a menu. We cook based on whatever ingredients we get each day. Choi Jong-woo slowly sits down watching Kang Joon-ho's back as he ties an apron and asks, so is there anything special today? Kang Joon-ho doesn't turn around, just replies casually, maybe. He glances back a little smiling as he introduces today's dish. We have bento steak. His words make Choi Ji-woo freeze for 5 seconds. He repeats in confusion, bento. Choi Ji-woo recalls the earlier event. Those from before right, I saw about 10 of them. The image of the giant bento standing before Kim Soon-gu flashes in his mind. His tone brightens. Good thing Master Sun-gu handled them. It seems they headed straight to the market. The conversation continues during the cooking. As he pours fresh milk into the pan, he says, yeah, thanks to that I got some fresh bento meat. They were fierce, but the meat is delicious. At that, Choi Ji-woo hesitates a bit. Bento meat? Kang Joon-ho encourages him, go ahead and try a steak bite. Choi Ji-woo replies politely, sounds interesting. But inside he's feeling queasy. Under the table, he checks his wallet and thinks, steak? I thought this was just a casual spot. Hope I have enough cash. Kang Joon-ho keeps going smoothly, unaware of the other guy's worries. He stirs the meat chunks and sprinkles pepper to season. In his mind, Kang Joon-ho recalls, 3 years ago when I woke up, I was summoned to another world full of dragons and alien monsters. In his memory, fierce dragons soar in the sky, striking fear and awe. On the ground, there are all kinds of monsters, bull-headed beasts, strange goblins, and massive, dangerous creatures. Kang Joon-ho realizes the key point: I was summoned to another world. He remembers preparing to fight a fierce dragon struggling to survive. Kang Joon-ho battles a blood-red dragon, the ground shattered by its power. Armored, he swings his sword to block the immense force energy condensing as if it could crush ordinary people. Each important event flashes in Kang Joon-ho's mind. After gaining power beyond the dragons in his flashback, Kang Joon-ho holds his sword and carves ancient runes as he enters the Demon King's hall, facing the ruler's overwhelming might. Finally, he defeated the Demon King. Next, Kang Joon-ho remembers being enveloped in a brilliant light, accidentally returning to Earth. But with that, he stands stunned as he witnesses monsters and dragons falling from the space rift. The soul he knew is gone. Skilled, he sprinkles pepper and soy sauce into the shiny steak pan for seasoning. Kang Joon-ho is still lost in thought. For 35 days in that other world, he fought the Demon King and saw monsters until he was sick of them. Kang Joon-ho's hands move quickly, but his mind is full of thoughts. I know their traits, weaknesses, and how to handle them perfectly. But when I returned, seeing everyone, Kang Joon-ho pours wine over the meat and wonders, do they even need me to step in anymore? He plates the steak with mushrooms and greens, concluding humans on Earth are protecting the world their own way. In the final step, Kang Joon-ho pours the rest of the sauce over the steak plate. The dish is done. That's how the world is now. He looks at his creation, thinking with satisfaction. On the table, the bento steak is served. The steak looks fresh, drenched in sauce, incredibly appetizing, made from premium bento breast meat with a royal curry sauce mix. Here, give it a try. Looking at the steak, Choi Ji-woo is so excited he's almost drooling. Here, try some. Looking at the steak plate, Choi Ji-woo got so excited he was almost drooling. This one he secretly got excited inside. I just planned to fill my stomach and leave, but this dish is amazing. Taking the plate to enjoy the first bite, the sauce is still creamy on the steak slice. The man thought to himself, let's try a bite and see. Beyond expectations, he opened his eyes wide. Choi Ji-woo's taste buds exploded, praising non-stop. This is so juicy. It feels like it's soothing my frazzled nerves. He immediately digs in like there's no tomorrow. No time to think, making Kang Joon-ho smirk from the side. Choi Ji-woo stuffs his mouth full. He goes from one bite to the next, sauce all over his lips. Eating something this good makes him pretty satisfied. Choi Ji-woo closes his eyes and thinks, That's right. No matter the price, he's enjoying it fully. Today, let's go all out. After devouring the steak, he holds out his plate with shining eyes. Hey, can I get another bento steak? Kang Joon-ho pauses for a moment, then says, sure. In his mind, he's thinking I was planning to hunt them for myself, but the second plate is gone too. Choi Ji-woo sighs contentedly, whew, that was delicious. Can I get the bill? But Kang Joon-ho says no charge. The first-time customer is so surprised he jumps up. First-time customers always surprise him so much he jumps up. They surprise him so much he jumps up. No way, it's absolutely delicious. Choi Ji-woo scratched his head and smiled, thanks to you all, my fatigue has vanished. He affirmed that he'd definitely come back often, so I wanted to pay. Hearing that, he smiles a little smugly, no other way. Kang Joon-ho concedes, fine, just $10. No other way, Kang Joon-ho concedes, fine, just $10. Choi Ji-woo places a $10 bill next to the plate, okay. He turns his head with a bright smile, thanking him for the meal. Oh, by the way, Kang Joon-ho suddenly feels confused. Yes, Choi Ji-woo gently reminds, stay safe. In times like this, non-awakened like you and me have it tough. He worries like a concerned mom. If monsters show up nearby again, evacuate quickly. I, Choi Ji-woo, hand him my business card. Here's my card. He takes it, listening carefully to every word. Compared to a few years ago when this was basically a wasteland, cafes, bars, and markets are starting to pop up, but it's still dangerous. Kang Joon-ho stares at the business card, not paying attention to Choi Ji-woo's words. If anything happens, call me. Thanks for the meal. Choi Ji-woo is from the Awakened Association Patrol Team, same headquarters. After Choi Ji-woo leaves, Kang Joon-ho whispers, tough times for the non-awakened. He bows his head slightly in thought. When he goes back inside, he quietly says, not a bad guy, live long, Mr. Official. In the restaurant, another juicy bento steak appears. He cuts it into pieces and starts chewing. One plate he praises himself, just as I expected, delicious. Outside the restaurant, a small bird seems to notice the noise and perks up its round eyes. Inside, Kang Cheon-ho is now a bit tired but relaxed. Its round eyes perk up. He rubs his neck and thinks another day of business went smoothly. With his other hand, he wipes the stove as usual. I'll make a drink and head in. Thinking about it, he hesitates, looking at a few eggs as big as dinosaur eggs, but with colorful scales. Maybe I'll make something to snack on with the bento eggs I bought earlier. Kang Cheon-ho can't decide how to cook them. Still unsure about the bento eggs, the restaurant door is suddenly pulled open again. A guy in a hoodie and long pants appears in the doorway looking annoyed. There you are, Kang Cheon-ho. A guy in a hoodie and long pants appears in the doorway. Not understanding, the young man angrily shouts, I'm here to get my stuff back. Going back a few hours earlier at the Cod Moon traditional market, Cheon-ho casually appears with a basket amid the lively morning market. The sky is clear blue, with vendors calling out herbal medicine brewed with cooked bento. We're buying mana crystals at high prices. Cheon-ho has one hand in his pocket, strolling through the market. He thinks, since monsters appeared, livestock and fresh veggies became their food, so it's hard to find basic ingredients. People have no choice but to use monsters as their food source, and a lot of them are reluctant. He can't help but wonder, but maybe because it's tastier than expected or cheaper. Many delicious dishes come to mind. Now, artificial farming provides enough meat and veggies, marinated meats, sweets, even unique dishes. But monsters are still a famous food ingredient. Then Cheon-ho notices a stall selling monster eggs with the owner happily selling. Thanks to that, the Co-Demon Monster Market has expanded. From Cheon-ho's view, the stall owner places his hand on a huge purple-scaled egg and tells a customer, these monster eggs just arrived in bulk. Check them out. So Cheon-ho walks over and comments, seems like bento eggs just showed up. The owner replies, I am not sure. The eggs have been checked by the Awakened Association, but you know monster eggs look alike, so I can't tell them apart. Right after Cheon-ho activates his appraisal. The appraisal's origin is an artifact from Canis the Silver Dragon ruling the northern mountains of the Empire. This world grants the ability to see through an object's essence. After activating the appraisal, each monster egg displays all its essential information, like the item name, grade, mostly grade 4, and detailed description. He stole it when he caught the Demon King, and up to now it's one of the artifacts he uses a lot. He reads the egg names in his head, Bento Chisaratos. He thinks, because I can know the target's strength and tendencies and tell who's lying or telling the truth. After that, Cheon-ho tries not to use it on people as much as possible. After that, Cheon-ho decides, I'll buy all of these. He gathers the big eggs. The stall owner is quite happy. You're buying a lot. And he's still thinking about the appraisal. If I knew the truth, I'd only regret it. In the basket, the eggs are displayed. Only one icy blue egg shows no information at all. Cheon-ho immediately notices the anomaly. He suspects, why is there no info on that egg? Yes, so he points to that egg. Owner, add that egg too. The owner immediately responds, sure. Back home, Cheon-ho cracks one into a hot pan. He thinks eating is just a waste of time when I'm on the battlefield. He once thought a good meal is just a luxury. He continues pouring milk into the pan. But over time, only good things remain. The result is a plate of stirred bento eggs topped with sauce next to 2 sandwiches. The main ingredients are bento eggs and high soul milk. This dish probably reminds him of his past. They say food and smells are great for evoking memories. Someone asked, is it creamy because of the Kohan milk? He replied, not sure. He thinks, I ate this with my team on the battlefield before. Chewing the sandwich, he silently praises, the creamy bento eggs blend perfectly with the Kohan milk. I like how soft it is. Eating alone, he thinks, delicious. If I close my eyes, those memories come back. After eating, he lifts his head slightly. The sunset gently shines down through the large window, evoking longing in his eyes. He cherishes the faces he misses. Now he starts missing the faces he can no longer see. Am I really getting old? Lost in thought, he remembers the unusual green egg. He turns to look at it, still sitting obediently in the basket, saying to himself, oh, that egg couldn't be appraised right. Yes. As he knows, a dragon's artifact is naturally formed when a dragon is born by absorbing its power. That's why it exerts tremendous pressure on surrounding creatures, but can't be used on their own kind. Stepping closer, Cheon-ho gently places his hand on top of the egg, thinking, so, is this a dragon egg? I never thought I'd buy a dragon egg at the market. He picks it up lightly, wondering, what would it taste like? What should I make with it? Just then, the restaurant door is flung open. A tall, thin figure appears in the doorway. Cheon-ho turns, The guy looks around and asks, is this the restaurant? He's in a simple hoodie hair tied in a small bun behind fists clenched defensively, aggressively. I'm here for my stuff. As he speaks, he suddenly spots the egg Cheon-ho is holding. His finger points, there it is. As for him, he's secretly activating his appraisal. I couldn't get any info on that kid either. And if he's after this egg without thinking much, Cheon-ho asks straight, are you a dragon? The question stuns the red-haired guy, but that expression confirms his guess. He strokes his chin, pondering, I didn't expect dragons in this world. I had a hunch before. But Khan is fuming like fire erupting inside him. He mumbles, how does Khan stay alert releasing his power? He whispers, how do you know my identity? Dense flames swirl around Khan's body like a vortex. Flames even glow from his already red eyes. But no matter how much Khan erupts, Cheon-ho remains completely calm. Cheon-ho remains completely calm. He crosses his arms like watching a show. On top of that, he teases, making Khan even hotter. Answer my question, mortal. Answer my question, mortal. One side is raging like fire, ready to burn anything. The other is Cheon-ho calmly saying, I have no intention of fighting. I have an artifact called appraisal. Dragon information is the only thing I can't see. But that might make Khan even madder. Appraisal. A dragon's artifact in your hands. Cheon-ho casually rests his arm on the table. You know about appraisal. Facing his unusually calm attitude. So it's easy. Facing his unusually calm attitude, Khan, in his anger, thinks, that kid isn't just some ordinary restaurant owner. How can he be so calm in front of a dragon? But he still crosses his arms and says, ignoring Khan's fighting stance, take it. I'm glad the owner came for it. I hope you clean up before taking it. In response, Khan doesn't want to let it go. A small human talking to me like that. Oh, and he notices a sharp knife on the shelf. Is that a weapon? Khan asks angrily and confused. Is the green dragon scale a weapon? Cheon-ho nods normally. It's a knife. But it can also be a weapon. I use it in the kitchen. Not done. Khan smells dragon bone in the white board. The smell of that board is dragon bone. In return, the confirmation from the always calm guy makes Khan even angrier, his dragon scales rising on his face. Dragon bone's value, including scales and meat, is high. But he's using it as kitchenware. He killed his kind and used them as kitchenware. He grits his teeth, I can't forgive you. Finally, his rage peaks. Khan releases his inner power in a vortex of dragon flames, roaring, die, you human pests! The one targeted by a real dragon's fury. Kang Cheon-ho just sighs. Ah, he says tiredly. Cleaning up is such a hassle. You made the mess. A jade energy ball shoots straight at Cheon-ho. He doesn't dodge yet, just sighs, just as I thought. Cheon-ho's hand reaches out saying just one word, dragon. The pan is drawn to him like a magnet. Black energy radiates around him, his left eye glowing with power. He continues gripping the pan, but I won't hold back. Next, the pan strikes the energy ball. All the power dissipates, leaving Khan stunned for a moment. Even his initial rage vanishes. He stammers, huh? Meanwhile, Cheon-ho has the pan and quickly charges, eyes flashing, saying, "Then don't expect mercy." Cheon-ho finishes and it obeys. That's when the pan hits Khan's right cheek, perfectly distorting his face. Still dazed from the pan hit, Khan vaguely thinks, "Oh man, that voice sounds familiar. Where have I heard it? Where?" The memory forces him to recall that day Kang Cheon-ho in armor sword at his side declaring, "I'll capture the Demon King." No time for that. I hate boring stuff, so I'll get straight to the point. Ba Cheon-ho rests the massive sword on his shoulder, threatening, "Give me the artifact. You don't use it, so let me make use of it. If you don't cooperate, I'll beat you and take it." Before him is a majestic dragon covered in scales dozens of times larger than a normal person. It perches on an arena next to another smaller red dragon. The dragon father sees Cheon-ho's words as arrogance. It growls, "What nonsense is this mad human spouting?" It glares with deadly red eyes, The young red dragon nearby trembles, reaching out as if to say, "No, father. He is Miro Lickers." The young dragon only dares to think in fear, "I saw him 3 years ago, so I know. Father will definitely be defeated." The young dragon wants to cover his eyes with his claws, panicking silently. Miro noticed him, a kid. Then the world darkens, and in his ear, "You shouldn't witness this." Khan suddenly snaps back on the ground, back to reality. Cheon-ho is now leisurely sitting on a chair holding a glass of wine. Seeing Khan awake, he says, "You're up. Let's talk a bit. I want to discuss the cleanup." He looks at his glass and says, "After you clean up, I'll let you take your stuff." While the red-haired young man is still trembling and accepting, he continues, "I don't really like dragons for personal reasons. So if you don't listen, I have no choice but to use force." So no matter how arrogant Khan was before, he has to wring the cloth and clean now. His face shows deep frustration with a touch of disbelief. On the table, Cheon-ho casually pours wine and snacks, while Khan has to kneel on the floor scrubbing. He starts the conversation, "You don't seem local here since you know about appraisal." Khan responds, "I was born in the 6 lands of Espan. Not long ago, I fell into this world through a space rift." Cheon-ho strokes his chin, guessing about the unusual egg on the table. Is the 6 lands of Espan connected to this world? No wonder the monsters look familiar. This thing probably came from Espan, too. Seeing that Khan looks up, "In your place, my name is Miro Lickers. Here I am, Kang Cheon-ho. Have you heard of me?" Seeming to notice Khan is distracted, he reminds, "What's up? Your hands aren't working, are they?" Khan feels pressured, so he scrubs harder. In his heart, he's even more anxious. I knew it, he's that guy. After some intense cleaning, every corner is spotless. Cheon-ho comments, "Oh, that's clean. Now you can take your stuff." But Khan has something to ask. But he seems a bit scared, so he doesn't dare look directly. "Why didn't you return my father's artifact after killing the Demon King?" "Who is your father?" Khan says his father's name. But in the room corner, the cloth on the bucket edge still drips water on the floor. Cheon-ho realizes that dragon, "No wonder your aura is similar. You're the kid from back then." Khan hears that and jumps, replying loudly, "Yes." He still stands far from Cheon-ho, cowering. But the haunting from the previous world makes his trembling even more amusing to Cheon-ho. He laughs, "Ha-ha," and waves, "Come here. I won't hit you. I stopped beating dragons 3 years ago." Khan bristles at that, "Don't lie. Even if I don't know human ages, I know you haven't aged much." And anyway, Khan complains inwardly. "He just hit me earlier." Cheon-ho asks, "How old are you?" Khan counts on his fingers, 1, 2. Cheon-ho replies, "I remember I'm a bit over 51. Hearing that, Cheon-ho says, "So you're about 50. I'm older than you, I'm 60. Khan is shocked. "Are you an alpha race that lives long like them?" Hearing that, he chuckles, looking confident. "Am I that handsome?" The red-haired guy denies it, his cheeks flushing. "Not really." Then he nods, teasing Khan. Anyway, punishment is medicine for unruly dragons. Back then, maybe because of Khan's fearful look, Cheon-ho laughs again. "Seeing a dragon wary of a human is hilarious." Teased Khan says indignantly, "What?" He shouts angrily, "Dragons feel fear too." "You killed my kind. Are you going to kill me too?" But hearing that Cheon-ho glances up seriously, "I think there's a misunderstanding. The dragon scale knife and that cutting board are gifts. I've fought a few dragons, but I've never killed any." At this point, Khan also fell silent. But he continued explaining, "I'm sorry, but your father's artifact was shattered when I fought the Demon King. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't return it. I'll apologize for that. But I really needed that artifact, even though you've forgotten what it was. But I really needed that artifact." Next, with the snacks and wine on the table, Cheon-ho says, You have a lot to say." "Do you drink?" Khan eagerly shouts. "Why? Can I drink with a lowly human?" But after a while, the boastful one slumps his head on the table, tipsy. He mumbles, pointing up, "You're the first human to drink with a dragon. You should be proud." Khan points and mumbles next to the empty bottles. Cheon-ho smirks. Haha, another first for me. Cheon-ho asks, did you lay that egg? But you're young for a dragon that's amazing. On the table, the jade dragon egg sits obediently emitting a cool aura. Khan quickly clarifies I'm male. Males can't lay eggs. That egg is my sibling. Hearing the answer, he can't help but ask, I thought dragons were hermaphrodites. Your sibling Khan starts telling his journey with his sibling to this world. Not long ago, a space rift opened in our dragon lair. Our parents were away. He continues probing. So you're a stray in the dimensions. How long have you been in this world? Khan thinks, then answers about half a year. Cheon-ho interjects similar to when I returned to Earth. Kang is surprised, quickly asking, I heard you disappeared after killing the Demon King. Didn't you return right away? Cheon-ho simply replies, I had some things to handle there, so it took a little time. Khan, now buzzed, mumbles, oh, interesting. His face is flushed too. Khan voices his curiosity. Why are you hiding in this useless restaurant? After saving the world, vanishing, and showing up in another dimension. Cheon-ho asks as if he didn't hear what. Khan states his reason, a monster like you could easily rule the world. Cheon-ho's expression turns serious for a moment. Monsters here are running wild everywhere. Don't you want the world in your hands? Cheon-ho asks back, why do you think that... He wants to know this hot-headed dragon's thoughts first. Khan slams his fist on the table, gritting his teeth. Humans are always like that. Power, war, greed. After you caught the Demon King and saved the world, didn't humans start fighting among themselves? Cheon-ho clears his throat, twirling his small wine glass casually. That makes sense, but I'm not interested in that stuff. He squints and rests his palm on his head. I'm sick of it. Khan narrows his eyes and grumbles, I don't believe humans. The person across doesn't care much. At least take good care of your only sibling. But in his drunken haze, Khan hugs the egg, swaying with a happy smile. He says softly, yeah, my sibling is beautiful. But because he's so drunk, Khan suddenly tilts right about to fall. Oh, luckily Cheon-ho catches him. After the world spins, he hums, I told you to be careful. Then, as Cheon-ho opens his eyes from the shock, a small green dragon head with bright green eyes is staring at him, making him think, what are these eyes? After that, his vision clears. He sees Khan mischievously looking at him. What? When he fully opens his eyes, a small light green dragon with soft, thick fur reaches out to him. It chirps cutely, its voice childish. Beside his ear is Khan's ecstatic voice, my sibling. Khan joyfully shouts, my sibling is born! While Cheon-ho is getting used to the baby dragon just hatched from the egg. The egg has hatched, a baby dragon is born, wiggling its scaly tail innocently. As Cheon-ho asks Khan, what do you usually call it? Khan innocently replies, little dragon. Cheon-ho points out, isn't that just the word for baby dragon? Khan casually responds, I'm thinking of a name. Being petted by Cheon-ho, Kyun happily wiggles its little hands. He casually asked, is it male or female? Khan wasn't happy and snapped, my sister is a girl and don't treat her like some animal. Cheon-ho stroked its round cheeks, thinking to himself, it's tiny like a grain of millet, but it already has a few teeth. Are dragons omnivores? He looked at the little dragon in his hand and went quiet for a moment. Seeing that Khan proudly puffed up full of brotherly affection, that's right, my sister is adorable, isn't she? The cutest ever. Cheon-ho just patted its head and agreed quietly. Then he turned to Khan. So where do you plan to take this little dragon now? Khan hesitated at the question, feeling a bit uneasy, and pondered for a moment. Cheon-ho sensed Khan's silence. What does that mean? Cheon-ho realized it and smiled a little. He said, if you have somewhere to go, eat first before you leave. Outside in the somewhat devastated urban area, this diner seemed to always stand strong even in the eye of the storm, and now it had changed. Outside, rain and wind poured down relentlessly, drops pounding against the window frame, mixing with the indifferent sound of machinery. It was a devastating wind, lightning flashing from above, illuminating a dark corner of the deep forest. Damned demons moved with the storm. As the wind blew, it carried a strong stench of blood. Unclear where the sound came from the last glass of wine we shared. A gloomy voice, as if returning from the afterlife, softly called, Miro. Long hair sprawled messily on the gray ground, its color obscured by a layer of cold, lonely veil. A smile appeared, half of the face hidden, slowly revealed. The person continued whispering, perhaps to themselves or to some Miro, I'm still alive. And finally, with the smell of blood, too. Back at Cheon-ho's diner, a fork was stabbed into a supersized hamburger steak topped with a rich, appetizing bun. Kyun squealed with delight, Turns out the main ingredient was still chicken breast. The bento with Ceratosaurus thigh meat was spongy and soft like sea foam, good for both the elderly and children. And it's good for both the elderly and children. Cheon-ho gently wiped Kyun's mouth with a napkin while it wagged its iron tail cutely. He asked the person still casually preparing a fatty meat dish, "So are you heading home now?" Khan jumped, breaking into a cold sweat. Then remembering that no meal is free, Khan asked, "How much for one meal?" "Yes, but Cheon-ho just replied lightly, $10, but you can go without paying." "Why?" Then gathering all his courage, Khan clenched his fist and asked firmly, "Do you have a place to stay?" But unfortunately, Cheon-ho said coldly, "I don't." Hearing that, Khan drooped his head, shoulders slumped in disappointment. Seeing that, he thought, "I get it, being dropped into another world must be lonely. I always thought dragons were proud and arrogant creatures." Cheon-ho secretly thought a dragon feeling lonely. If the scholars in the 6 Edpan realms knew about this, they'd probably write hundreds of papers on it. Both he and Kyun noticed the purple magic stone Khan placed on the table. Khan said, "I'll give this to you." Khan continued about the magic stone. "This is a level 4 magic stone. I know it still has value in this world." His hand glided over the cool stone. Kyun mimicked and touched it too. Suddenly, Cheon-ho burst out laughing. He covered his face helplessly, making Khan want to flip the table. "Why are you laughing?" His face flushed red. Meanwhile, Kyun kept making sounds Kyuru. Cheon-ho looked down at its chubby, food-loving face. Still hungry. So he fed it another forkful of steak, making Kyun giggle with satisfaction. As he fed it, he thought, trying to live on Earth with a kid like this must be tough even for a dragon. The more he thought, the more he felt he might miss that world. In his mind, an image of a woman with her face obscured by a dark gray veil of memory appeared along with the buried name Miro. He felt a bit bitter. I probably won't have a chance to see her again while I'm alive. Thinking that, Cheon-ho said, "Stay for a few days, but you don't need that." As if waiting for that, Khan brightened up his lips, breaking into a wide smile, making Kyun tilt her little head curiously. Cheon-ho thought optimistically, having someone to share secrets with adds a bit of joy to life. But Khan didn't think that way. He said anxiously, "Anyway, I can't keep relying on you like this. You're even giving me food." Cheon-ho didn't mind much. His hand let Kyun climb around freely. Cheon-ho then had to point his finger in the air in front of Khan's confused eyes. From his finger, a dark mist swirled up. His finger came down, and it suddenly expanded into a black rift leading to another dimension. Khan was so shocked he jumped up eyes wide. Without stopping from the dense black mist, the subdimensional energy revealed a purple-green goblin. He was dressed in a neat suit with elegant glasses, exuding noble grace in every move. He respectfully bowed, "Welcome, King of the World. It's been a long time since you visited the subdimension." That was Kasim, an immortal goblin. Khan stood up in disbelief and asked, "A goblin?" Cheon-ho held Kyun, who was playful and eager to interact with the new creature. He just explained, "An immortal goblin. He manages the items in my subspace." Right then, Cheon-ho greeted him back, not forgetting to remind him about how Kasim had called him the King of the World, because here your status is different. "Long time no see, Kasim, and I've told you not to call me that." Kasim then respectfully replied, "My apologies, sir. Now you're just an ordinary Kang Cheon-ho. Now you're just an ordinary Kang Cheon-ho." Kasim stepped aside, extending his hand to reveal a series of magic stones in various colors and grades nestled together. He calmly reported, "As many as grains of sand on the beach, but for high-grade ones about 5 superior magic stones and 120 high-grade ones." Cheon-ho nodded as if he knew handing the purple magic stone that Khan insisted on giving him to the loyal goblin. "I see, add this one too." Khan, witnessing it all from the side, seemed unable to process what had just happened. His expression was full of bewilderment. Kasim took it and casually commented, "Just another grain of sand." Then Cheon-ho was about to end the transmission, but suddenly remembered something. "Oh, wait, I should take that out." "Yes," the goblin replied. "Yes, here it is." They continued their exchange. Khan, still dazed, said, "If it's superior grade, that's level 1 in this world, and magic stones are scattered like sand." Kang Cheon-ho pondered briefly. That's great." Finished, Kasim stepped back. the space door bowing respectfully with his hand on his stomach. "Until next time, king of the world." Realizing his slip-up that displeased his master, he quickly corrected, "No, just ordinary Kang Cheon-ho." Cheon-ho's face grew stern, still carrying a hint of his former authority. After that, Kasim disappeared. Cheon-ho stood up and met the dumbfounded eyes of Khan and his sister. "All right, now I want you to help me with something." Outside, white clouds drifted lazily, the sky clear and peaceful sunlight rustling through the leaves. The sky was peaceful with sunlight and wind rustling the leaves. On the diner balcony, Cheon-ho and Kyun slept soundly on a small mat, her green skin glistening under the sunlight. But just a second later, it wasn't peaceful outside anymore. Maybe because she was sleeping so deeply, or the soundproof windows were good, she didn't budge when a burst of fire landed outside on the rooftop. Khan stood pitifully facing the person sheltering him, Cheon-ho. His head had a bump, clearly from Cheon-ho disciplining him for spitting fire recklessly. "Seriously, I told you. If you keep spitting fire like that, it'll burn everything down. You have to control the flame precisely." One hand on his hip, the other holding up a brightly engraved sword, skewering a large piece of meat. Khan, disciplined, replied helplessly, "Got it." Starting, Cheon-ho raised the sword a bit higher. "Guidance done. Try again." Starting, Khan blew dragon fire on the meat. He tried to adjust the force to match the piece of meat. Thus, the Ataho breath-grilled dish was born. The main ingredient is a Tahoe loin grilled to medium perfection. The fat melted and dripped down the sword, releasing an irresistible aroma. Cheon-ho was satisfied. That's good. He carefully removed the meat from the sword and wrapped it in paper. At that moment, Khan, feeling helpless but curious, asked, That sword you took from the subdimension earlier. It's not just an ordinary weapon, right?" Cheon-ho replied casually, "Probably not." Cheon-ho tried to recall, "What's its name again?" "I think it's called Truk Rika Feo. Back then it was a masterpiece crafted by the dwarf Rika Feo. His greatest work hailed as a divine weapon amid the cheers of countless subjects. Surely nothing greater exists in the world." Khan was amazed. "Khan, come with me downstairs to the second floor." With his hand in his pocket casually, he asked, "What for?" "You're using priceless treasures for meaningless cooking." "A weapon like that isn't for that." Carrying the meat in one arm and the sword in the other, Cheon-ho replied lightly, "Isn't it better to use them than to hoard them like a dragon and never touch them?" Khan heard that and stroked his chin, nodding, Khan heard that and stroked his chin, nodding, You're right." Cheon-ho turned to him and smiled at the childlike innocence of the red dragon. In his mind, he thought, seriously, he doesn't act like a dragon at all. As they walked with the sword, they suddenly heard a door open and a voice, "Hello, boss." They both turned their heads. It was Choi Ji-woo at the diner. He smiled with squinted eyes, excitedly placing his hand on his forehead in greeting. "Just stopping by during patrol, so I get treated to another great meal from Cheon-ho." The stack of dishes piled in the sink, soaking in bubbles. Even the sword Cheon-ho used to skewer the meat. On one side, Jo chewed his food while humming contentedly, "It smells so good today, too." On the other, Jo chatted with Cheon-ho. Jo asked, seeing Khan wearing gloves washing dishes, "Looks like you've hired new staff." Cheon-ho just replied, "Yeah, sort of." Khan mentioned felt a bit uneasy and flinched. Suddenly, Jo tensed up, talking about something. "Oh, right. More importantly, a new dungeon has appeared in the underground tunnel between Shinran and Seodaman. This dungeon is like a cluster of magic hiding an endless source of light." He added, "Seodaman is also recruiting awakeners for this." Cheon-ho's hand on the railing clenched a bit. He pondered, "Is that so?" thinking a dungeon is forming. Cheon-ho knew that dungeons basically nurture monsters. In his mind, an image of a prison enveloped in dark magic appeared with every detail carved in spiritual energy. He thought further, and it acts like a gate that can summon creatures from other dimensions, where spatial rifts have formed. He easily related it to his own case, and considering Khan's situation, it seemed certain. Cheon-ho then wanted to know if there was any info on the difficulty. Jo across from him answered clearly, "We estimate it's around level 5. He continued, "So in Seodamun, Kim Sangu and the Genkaku team will be deployed. And in Shincheon, Cheonjan will lead a team. If Seodamun is guarded by merchant mages, then Shincheon is under the watch of the Ice Witches." Hearing the name Cheonjan, Cheon-ho felt a bit unfamiliar but didn't ask. Then Jo bowed slightly, his thoughts seeming to sink. "As a precaution, they're forming a reserve team. So today the square is packed with job seekers. After a pause, he continued. Every time I see that, it breaks my heart. These days there are so many awakeners that only the best get picked. J.O.'s hands intertwined slightly. His words became more sincere and empathetic. It feels like looking at an old labor site. You know, most of them probably have families. Sometimes I feel lucky I'm not an awakener with a stable job. Above, the sunlight had taken on a pinkish-orange hue shining on the high-rises. Choi Jae realized it wasn't early anymore. He checked his watch. I should go, it's late. Thanks for the meal as always. After the office guy left safely, Khan stood in the counter, still wearing pink gloves, but excitedly clenched his fist, eyes sparkling. The Idaho grill I made is getting praised. Cheon-ho, meanwhile, was lost in other thoughts, replying casually, maybe. He looked at the wrinkled $10 bill in his hand and muttered, I should buy more Idaho meat. The sky turned to sunset colors. That's when Cheon-ho, hands in his pockets and a basket on his shoulder, stood in the monster market specifically in front of the Idaho beef stall. He pointed at the meat preserved in glass. Give me 10 pounds of Tahoe beef, please. The young butcher replied, All right, do you want it sliced? Cheon-ho didn't, so he refused. Leave it whole, thanks. Just then, a high female voice interrupted their conversation. Those who want to join the raid, please line up over here. But nearby, next to a white car, were two striking figures. They wore combat gear, the man with a spear and the woman quickly guiding the civilians around. Witnessing the scene, Cheon-ho pondered. That guy looks familiar. Who is he? Then observing the man with the long ponytail more closely, he remembered, oh, right, the mage Kim Sang-gu. He's said to be a level 2 awakener. So this was the recruitment spot for the raid he heard about earlier. He knew that these days, groups attacking dungeons are called raid teams. It's like the old game systems with websites full of searches for it spreading everywhere. Like info on raid teams or job postings for awakeners at various levels and positions. Cheon-ho silently felt lucky. I've played games for a long time. Thanks to that, I get this stuff quickly. Surrounding the two recruiters were many people with different abilities. They came with their own attitudes for the recruitment. He thought further. When the world started changing like a fantasy game, existing terms spread widely. And that's not the only similarity. For example, in Cheon-ho's mind, he outlined a random 12-person party. While tanks and healers are treated like nobility, DPS roles are always overabundant. Among that group, only 3 to 4 have key abilities. So what brings you here? He asked seriously. How many magic stones are in the subspace? He thought to himself, maybe because the DPS classes are so diverse. Awakened ones as DPS in that crowd. Suddenly, a stocky man with a buzz cut anxiously asked, Is there any DPS spot open? He recalled his meeting with Choi Ji-woo that afternoon, and what he had said, most of them probably have families too. He turned away, ready to leave. Cheon-ho stood with his back to the man carrying a large backpack, looking dejected. Cheon-ho stood with his back to the man carrying a large backpack, looking dejected. He casually put his hand in his pocket, slightly bowed his head, thinking, Choi Ji-woo, he's a good guy. I just wish he worried about himself a bit more. The sound of footsteps on the ground. The man rejected by the Awakener recruiters pulled out his wallet from his pocket. When he opened it, it was empty, just a single coin at the bottom. The man grew even more disheartened. Negative energy radiated around. He sighed silently. Ha! Back at the diner, Cheon-ho placed the basket on the table. He looked around the diner, calling Khan's name to see if he was nearby. When no one responded, Cheon-ho wondered, did he go in first? The kitchen was spotlessly clean. Tilting his head toward the suddenly opened door, he heard a sound. A male voice hesitated, At the door was the tall man from the market earlier. He cautiously asked, Are you still open? Cheon-ho welcomed him in. Yes, have a seat and some water. He thanked him hurriedly, but still felt uneasy. Ah, thank you. Cheon-ho started putting on his apron. Kim Man-ho suddenly asked, Do you sell ramen noodles? Just give me a minute. His hand glided over the red ramen packs lined on the shelf, thinking, weird ramen has been a cheap staple for 35 years. That hasn't changed. The price has gone up and the flavor's a bit different now. They don't use wheat flour anymore. As Cheon-ho took a pack from the shelf, Kim Man-ho, sitting at the counter, raised his hand worriedly. How much for 1 pack of ramen? He responded, just $2. The man's slightly sad face brightened a bit. He exclaimed, That cheap, can I get 5 packs then? Cheon-ho heard and paused, doubting his ears. He confirmed, 5 packs? Can you even eat that much? Kim Man-ho understood why he was surprised. He honestly replied, yes, all of it. Please, I'd really appreciate it. But Cheon-ho was a bit suspicious. He thought, what is this? Without waiting, Cheon-ho used his appraisal tool to scan the man. Immediately above the sneaky-looking man with his hands clasped on the table, a blue info panel appeared. Good alignment class is glutton. Class proficiency at the lowest level, but high learning potential. Seeing that Cheon-ho suddenly thought glutton, I remember that skill. One of my teammates had it. For a glutton, the more you eat, the stronger you get. And the quality of ingredients matters. However, Cheon-ho knew this ability was extremely weak in the early stages. It's hard to utilize until you grow stronger by eating powerful monsters. And Kim Man-ho sat at the counter, hugging his stomach, looking starving as living proof of the idea in his mind. Always hungry. Once you reach a certain level, it gets better. Cheon-ho tore open the red pack, still pondering. It seemed the man hadn't reached that level yet. After a while, the ramen was finally ready. He announced, "Your ramen is ready." On the table, a large bowl of hot ramen piled high with meat, decorated appealingly, sat next to a tray of kimchi steaming aroma. The colors glistened. The broth was what Cheon-ho called extra-large ramen with A5 Wagyu beef in broth. Mainly A5 Wagyu homemade beef cooked with ramen. He picked up a juicy slice of meat, surprised because he only ordered ramen but got a pile of meat. This Cheon-ho said with a straight face, "This is on me." Kim Man-ho blurted, "Really?" Looking at the man, Cheon-ho pondered. Good people always face hardships. I know all too well. In chaotic times, the kind ones fall first. If your alignment wasn't good, then even as a glutton, I'd ignore you. Kim Man-ho held the ramen bowl, picking up a piece of meat with his other hand. He hesitated for some reason. Cheon-ho silently thought, with his high ability stats, A5 Wagyu will have a decent effect. Thinking that, he reassured Man-ho. "Since I know you're hesitant about eating at our diner, we treat the first customer of the day so they come back." As if waiting for that, he immediately bit the piece of meat and shouted, "Thank you so much!" Just as expected. When he chewed the first piece, he couldn't hold back, his eyes widened in amazement. Kim Man-ho, as if he'd struck gold, praised, "I didn't know meat could be so flavorful and aromatic." Cheon-ho saw that and crossed his arms, smiling, his mood lifting. "You have good taste." He ate a big bite at a time, slurping contentedly. But not satisfied, he lifted the whole bowl and slurped the broth. Broth spilled from the corners of his mouth. When he set the bowl down, it was so clean it could reflect his face. He exclaimed in satisfaction, "Amazing." He stood up facing Cheon-ho, bowing slightly with sincerity. "Thank you very much, boss. Thanks to you, I had a great meal." Cheon-ho politely replied, "No problem. I'm glad you liked it." Kim Man-ho sincerely shared, "Really, it was truly delicious." Then suddenly remembering the payment, "Ramen, right, the money." Oh, he took out his wallet and bills and a few coins fell out. "So what brings you here?" he asked seriously. "How many magic stones are in the subspace? Besides that, there's a white box." He quickly knelt down to pick it up. The box fell on the floor next to some bills and the lid popped open, revealing a simple blue tie. "Thank you for such a great meal." He looked at the bill in his hand and said lightly, "No problem." Standing outside the restaurant, Kim Man-ho scratched his head, holding the tie box, slightly bowing, but relaxed. "I promise I'll come back next time." He stood in front of the door. Cheon-ho, wearing a long black apron, arms crossed quietly, watching the man leave and thinking to himself, clothes covered in dust with a brand new tie. At the same time, Khan appeared out of nowhere, rubbing his eyes, his hair messy, confused. Has Cheon-ho come back? When did he get back? But Cheon-ho was lost in his own thoughts. Is he trying to impress someone? I remember thinking that man has lived a hard life in this chaos, but I completely forgot about it. On the other side, Khan marveled at the spotless pot. Wow, this pot doesn't need washing. Even so, not long after Cheon-ho saw that man on the street again. In his hand was the tie box, his expression still gloomy and defeated. His eyes were fixed on one direction. Before Kim Man-ho was the dungeon full of monsters, even more imposing in the air as it covered a spatial rift. Around it, dark energy raged wildly. And perhaps that's when the gate exploded. The mysterious gate opened in the air with sparkling blue light surrounded by purple-black energy. Below was a bustling city. A man guarding the barrier stopped Kim Man-ho from entering. The barrier is dangerous. Please step back, Mr. Kim Man-hoo. Gripping the barrier, he pleaded, I'm an awakener, is there any job for me? The white-haired man asked, what level are you? Kim Man-hoo tried to explain, I work in the food industry. I don't have any special skills, but my strength is... Before he could finish, the white-haired man, unable to hide his contempt, said, this isn't a dungeon a mediocre awakener can enter. Even our team members returned injured. That gate is that dangerous. You'd better evacuate to a safer place. Mijin was sitting healing an injured man with her powers when Kim Man-hoo spotted her. He called out, Mijin, Mijin. Hearing her name, she looked up surprised. Dad. Then he pushed through the barrier and ran to his daughter, shouting, Mijin. Mijin, his sudden reaction left the guard unable to react. Kim Man-hoo questioned, Mijin, what are you doing in such a dangerous place? What about school? Mijin lowered her head and explained, they said a lot of people are injured, so the school sent most of the Awakener students to help. She got angry. Dad, what are you doing here? I'll handle it, you get out of here. Kim Man-hoo, surprised, said sadly, I'm really worried about you, Mijin, you know. Angry, she scolded, you're worried? You said your ability is only good for eating. You eat and work every day, eat and work, and you don't even come home. Do you really think putting yourself in danger among the injured is okay? She pushed him away. I said I need money, so I'm out here for scholarships. But barging in like this makes me look even worse. Go evacuate, causing a box to fall from Kim Man-hoo's clothes. Mijin gasped, the tie. Mijin gasped, the tie. She scolded, don't you even care about your own appearance? You don't even have a proper weapon. A pair of feet stepped out of the portal. Kim Sun-gu emerged from the mysterious gate, whispering something to the red-haired woman. Yes, the red-haired woman joyfully announced, the dungeon raid is complete, everyone did great. Someone announced, healers, please gather here and tend to the injured. Mijin immediately ran back. Yes. She left her dad standing alone without a goodbye. Kim Man-hoo stood alone, hearing others say, thank you all for your efforts. The levels of abilities an awakener possesses have 5 stages to reach mastery. By increasing proficiency in this world, and especially in Korea to train awakeners, a place called the Code School serves as a substitute for regular schools. Once the first class is mastered, one can choose a second class based on their environment and will. If someone masters 2 classes, they're recognized as level 1 or higher by the Awakener Association, because that's hard for ordinary people to achieve. So, if someone awakens with a useless ability or slow development, finding peace in what suits them is natural. Cheon-ho thought, the 6th class in the final battle I mastered my 6th class. He fell into thought, I don't see any signs of getting a new class, so I guess that's the limit. Khan rushed over, shouting, Miro! Kang Cheon-ho, correcting Cheon-ho. Khan continued, Cheon-ho, something really big just happened. He held Kyun up, showing, they say Kyun suddenly spoke while chewing. Kang Cheon-ho wondered, Kyun is orange in Korean. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Look at this, her ears are quite hard. Khan sweetly said to Kyun, Kyun, say dada. She squealed, Kyun looks so cute. She even smiled Kyun like a sunny fluffball, dada dada. Kyun kept waving her hands, babbling, grandma. Khan Cheon-ho hesitated, but the name sounds too Korean, doesn't it? Khan replied, she even named herself Kyun. And anyway, she was born in this world. Khan stroked her head as she kept saying Dada determinedly. You hear that this dragon is calling me Dada? Kang Cheon-ho helplessly replied, yeah, I heard. He patted her head, asking, they say dragons are born with a mastered class. What class has Kyun mastered? Kang also replied, I'm curious too, we have to wait until she grows a bit more. Outside, a voice called, boss. Khan, excited, immediately slumped down and glanced outside. Kim Man-hoo appeared, looking sad. Can I get 5 bowls of ramen right now? Khan, deflated, energy dropping. How can I run a real restaurant like this? Kim Man-hoo sat down and confided in Kang Cheon-ho. You look so tired. He said, today I tried to join a raid on the Raging Gate, but I ran into my daughter. She said if she helps heal the injured, she can get a scholarship. But it's a dangerous place. And Kim Man-hoo sadly continued, I couldn't even speak or help her. They told me to evacuate because I'm just a level 7 awakener, basically no different from a regular person. He told about his daughter. On the other hand, my daughter awakened healing abilities since she was young, and she's recognized as a level 3 awakener. She's also an excellent student at school, so she'll probably be well treated by the Awakener Association. He recalled, The day I went to the clothing store to buy clothes that day, he stood outside for a long time. That's the girl you saw last time. I went to her school instead because they said there was a parent-teacher conference. The tuition is too expensive. And Kim Man-hoo held the tie in his hand, cherishing it carefully. I thought for her school at least I should buy something, and turns out I could only afford a tie. He got more emotional as he spoke. Anyway, I think it's best I don't attend the parent-teacher conference. What's good about a dad who can't even support his daughter graduating properly? Kim Man-hoo heard his stomach growl, covered his face, and cried bitterly, laughing miserably. Ha ha, even in this situation I'm still hungry. Ah, damn it. His voice was tragic. I'm just a useless food-type awakener. He crossed his arms and listened silently. But I still have to eat like this in case I get called to a site where buildings collapsed from a gate explosion. Kang Cheon-ho went into the kitchen calling Khan. Khan was simmering soup, turning back. What's up? He asked innocently. Can I fatten you up? Khan jumped, cursing, you bastard, waiting until I'm fat to strike. Like a predator waiting for prey to get plump before pouncing. Kang Cheon-ho stepped forward, joking, just kidding. His eyes glanced at the table. Khan sighed and explained, that's Kyun's shed skin. Khan saw him staring and wondered, why are you staring at it? I carefully collected them. As soon as Kang Cheon-ho reached for it, Khan yelled, I was keeping them as souvenirs. Kang Cheon-ho brought out a large bowl of ataho ramen for Kim Man-hoo made from grilled ataho meat and cane meat. Kim Man-hoo was surprised. This is from last time. Kang Cheon-ho introduced, we have a lot of leftover meat. Help yourself. At the same time, Khan sat in a corner hugging Kyun, watching them with a heartbroken expression, crying pathetically, my collection. Kim Man-hoo picked up a piece of meat and put it in his mouth, chewing continuously. In the diner, only the sound of him eating was heard. Finally, he placed the wrinkled bill on the table, stood up and said, thank you for the meal today. Kim Man-hoo bowed sincerely. Boss, thank you for listening to my complaints. Kang Cheon-ho stood with his hands in his pockets, replying, no problem. As Kim Man-hoo reached the door, he called out, customer life is full of hard things. Yeah, at least if something is easy, that would be great. He advised, but for those who live diligently, good things happen occasionally. Kim Man-hoo teared up hearing Kang Cheon-ho's words, try to survive tomorrow. I'll be waiting here as always. Then he smiled and added, so come back. Khan, hugging Kyun, peeked out and asked, why didn't anything change? Kang Cheon-ho leaned against the door and replied, I've helped as much as I can. He ate dragon shed skin. That must be very useful. Khan glanced at him helplessly. That's a valuable item. Why did you help him? He looked at Khan without saying anything. After that, he patted Kyun's head. My dad had a back like that too. Khan took the chance to tease, so you have a dad too. Yeah, and as a result, Khan got a bump on his head from Kang Cheon-ho. When Kim Man-hoo sneaked back to the apartment late at night, the moon was shining. So what brings you here? He asked sternly. How many magic stones are in the subspace? So what brings you here? He asked seriously. How many magic stones are in the subspace? On the table was the tie from this morning. He thought to himself, the tie was something she picked up. Mi-jin turned around. Dad, I'm sorry too, my daughter. Kim Man-hoo said as he looked at his beloved daughter. He silently thought, I'm sorry I couldn't live like everyone else. I'm sorry for being a father who made you feel ashamed in front of your friends. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a comfortable life. With a heavy heart, he gently pulled the blanket over Mi-jin and continued thinking, but I've always loved you. At dawn, as the sun began to rise, everyone had already selected their assassins. They were still short one main assassin at the end spot. Kim Man-hoo ran so fast he was out of breath, volunteering, I'm right here. Kim Man-hoo ran breathlessly, volunteering, over here. The recruiter looked at him and asked, please show your Awakener ID. After Kim Man-hoo showed his card, he said, huh, aren't you the man from last time? What's your name? Kim Man-hoo replied, yes, Kim Man-hoo. The recruiter nodded. Right, you're that guy? I mean the man who collapsed in the hibernation area incident. Where was that dungeon? Why? He was confused. Yes. He advised, if that happens again, it'll be troublesome. Though it's been handled, it was originally a rage gate. But the Genkaku team took down the final boss, so we'll be fine. This time give it your all, okay? Kim Man-hoo, face full of worry, replied, yes. The recruiter raised his hand high, announcing, "All right, recruitment's done. Everyone gather, we're heading out." That morning, Kang Cheon-ho had just woken up still sleepy as he went down the stairs and saw a car passing by. Kang Cheon-ho fully woke up curiously watching, "That's the Zenka car carrying people." He pondered watching the car's shadow. Things have gotten bad this morning. Everything's starting to get chaotic. Kim Soon-gu worried, "Damn, what's the current situation?" Choi Trun hurriedly replied, "The gate is closed." The announcement came, "According to current info, only the team from the Mana Crystal Company, including level 5 to 7 Awakeners recruited at dawn, has entered." But someone continued, "It seems a hidden boss has appeared." People below the mysterious gate started to worry. Panic spread. Mi Jin looked up at the gate, keep calling, "Dad, Dad." He is Kim Man-hoo just stepping onto the grass. The sky was vast and blue with majestic mountains and waterfalls. He and his teammates ventured deep into the vast forest ahead. "Let's go!" Everyone looked up in awe at the vast and mysterious space except the armored guy standing coolly glancing sideways. Whoa! Suddenly, behind Kim Man-hoo, a dinosaur charged quickly, about to ram into him fully. Kim Man-hoo's face didn't change much. As if programmed, he swung a punch straight into its chest, knocking it down immediately. The punch carried all of Kim Man-hoo's strength. Under Man-hoo's feet was the unluckiest dinosaur in the forest lying there. He looked at his hands and seemed to feel some energy within him fully charged. He sighed in relief. "Whoa, suddenly I'm full of energy. I should be hungry by now, right? Why am I okay?" But while Man-hoo was still confused about what was happening inside him, the red-haired woman suddenly panicked, her face darkening as she looked at something that appeared. "What is that?" The sky seemed torn by a huge rift. Everything shook violently with its appearance. A massive creature's foot landed on the ground. The force was so strong that the air formed streaks in the direction of its fall. It was a gigantic, terrifying dinosaur with a huge mouth full of sharp teeth that could swallow an adult in 2 bites. It was way bigger, 100 times their size. Its fierce eyes glared fiercely at the sky. Man-hoo and his teammates froze in shock. Damn, it's the hidden boss. The hidden boss refers to a secret boss inside the dungeon. The girl shouted as she ran away. It seems like she's seen the outcome for all of us, if we stubbornly stay and do nothing. At that time, Man-hoo was still hesitating, just standing and watching. They usually appear when an additional spatial rift opens. This is a very rare case, and when it happens, most of the small monster cleanup teams end up dead. The dinosaur turned its cold, deadly gaze toward Man-hoo. Its glowing yellow eyes seemed to swallow and suffocate the space around them. At that moment, Man-hoo stood facing the monster, ignoring what the others were saying. He suddenly realized what it was. The red-haired girl rushed past him, urgently urging everyone, "Run! Escape from the death that's right in front of us." She was urgently telling everyone to run and escape from death. "It's coming here, hurry up!" Man-hoo must have realized the danger and was getting ready to turn and run. Suddenly, he saw something. The mana crystal on the body of the dinosaur he had just defeated had a red-purple-blue crystal embedded in it. That was incredibly valuable to him. Just by looking, he knew it was level 8. If he sold it on the market, it would be worth a whole week's salary. Man-hoo paused and stared at that crystal for a long time. Doubt started creeping into his mind, even though his teammates were rushing to escape. He thought about his daughter's life. If he could find a way to get that crystal. With it, he could buy Mi Jin a nice outfit. He could also get her some better food. As soon as the thought ended, Man-hoo decisively dashed toward the sparkling crystal, ignoring his teammates' panicked calls. "Hey, are you crazy? Hurry up!" Man-hoo's hand was almost touching the crystal. It suddenly emitted a strange white-gold light. Just this one. Just this one is enough! In the blink of an eye, the giant monster from earlier charged at him, opening its sharp jaws, ready to swallow Man-hoo whole. With its massive size, it could probably swallow its prey in one gulp without even chewing. The situation became extremely critical and desperate. Surprisingly, Man-hoo escaped from its jaws and was headbutted by the monster, flying hundreds of yards away. He gradually lost consciousness, his eyes blurry from the powerful impact. A thought flashed through his mind. Oh, so this is what Mi Jin calls a total disaster. Kim Man-hoo ran up out of breath, volunteering, "I'm right here." Even in the final moments, I'm such a fool. Suddenly, images of his daughter Mi Jin flashed in his mind. Every feature, gesture, and shape was clear, from a young woman back to a middle school girl, and finally to a newborn baby sleeping in his arms. I can't leave Mi Jin alone in this world. He struggled to stand up after the pain. Once more he faced that massive monster. This time it was head-on, not just being charged at. I'll tell you I can't die here. That huge tigrex stomped one foot on the ground, shaking the entire forest. It built up speed and charged straight at Manhwa, who was ready to face it. I'm here. He got into an attacking stance. He roared in his mind, absolutely not like some protagonist's heroic plot. When he thought of family, it was like getting a VIP boost. His face veins bulged and his eyes were determined as he looked at the massive, dangerous dinosaur. He yelled, "I can't die now." Manhwa's fists carried red electric sparks full of power. He charged at the dinosaur, punching its jaws with his bare hands. The force shook the earth and sky. Red fiery power blazed around his hands. A teammate nearby was blown away by the punch's force. He seemed to realize something too. That's leveling up. Manhwa stared in shock at his hands that had just performed the miracle. Now that deep red power enveloped his entire body. His hands showed two strange characters. The power of family bonds is truly terrifying. His hands showed two strange characters. He just stopped the hidden boss. Why didn't my punch hurt at all? I'm not even hungry. The massive dinosaur didn't seem affected at all. Its eyes still looked fierce at him. It started charging at Manhwa again with amazing speed. For the first time in his life, he blocked the monster's charge with his bare hands. He gritted his teeth, staring straight at the teeth bigger than his own body. The space seemed to shatter from the force of both. A tiny human against a massive creature enough to make your skin crawl. The dinosaur's push grew stronger. Manhwa's feet slid back even though he dug them into the ground. He was pushing back the terrifying monster. His eyes stayed determined. I'm trying to hold on. I'll keep holding on like this. In the critical situation, a spear suddenly appeared from nowhere. Behind Manhwa's teammates was Kim Sang-gu, who had already evacuated. The hidden boss, a man there, shouted, "Over there, Manhwa, over here!" Still struggling with the beast, he seemed about to give out, when he was about to collapse from the overwhelming force of the creature. Sang-gu wondered, who is he? How is he holding off a level 2 tigrex by himself? The green-haired girl next to Sang-gu was preparing a spell. It looked like she was just waiting for it to finish. Sang-gu smirked, looking at Manhwa fighting for his life against the monster in the distance. He's an amazing guy. I should ask for his business card. Manhwa's face was scrunched up, looking at his formidable opponent. Behind him, his feet were covered in shattered rocks and dirt. Heaven's blessing. Sukjin's profession is proficient. Average profession, high learning ability. Sang-gu approached the beast, relieving the old man. He landed on the back of the massive green dinosaur, which looked back at him with a bewildered gaze. But up in the sky, Kang Cheon-ho was watching everything. Surrounding him was a purple light, probably some kind of invisibility power so no one could see him. The Shichjin ability absorbs the opponent's attacks and counters them exactly. It's often mistaken for a damage-dealing power, but it's more about defense. It's what people call a special DPS tank ability. Kang Cheon-ho crossed his arms high up, gazing thoughtfully below. In terms of awakened ranks in Korea, that's a pretty solid ability, at least S rank. The issue is not everyone knows about it. Down below, Sang-gu had finished off the fat green dinosaur and caught Manhwa. The two of them seemed to have lifted a heavy burden. Both their faces broke into smiles. Everything was settled now. I should head back, right? The scene cuts to Kyung, yawning cutely. The laughing cow cheese with Cheon-ho cooking breakfast, lunch, dinner, or whatever behind. It's sitting next to a radio that's constantly broadcasting news about the S-rank raid team in the dungeon. In the Seo de Moon Dungeon's S-rank raid team, this is the hot news about the hidden dungeon boss Tigrex being defeated. Surprisingly, the biggest contributor was Kim Manhwa, a level 7 awakened. But the radio kept going while enduring the boss's final move alone. He leveled up to S-class and became the main contributor to conquering the dungeon. Kyun put his hand on the newspaper reporting on Manhwa with the headline, "Level 7 awakened the one who saved everyone." The radio hadn't finished about that hot news. They almost suffered significant losses due to the hidden boss's appearance. But thanks to Kim Manhwa's efforts, and they'll quickly implement fixes. As a result, the Awakened Association determined that the rank evaluation seemed incorrect and will quickly implement fixes. Along with a big reward, Cheon-ho picked up Kyun after finishing breakfast, lunch, dinner, or whatever in the back. "Are you reading the paper? You've put on a little weight." Ignoring the handsome guy's nonsense, Kyun was still adorable, waving his arms in his lap. SSASS. Kyun's big, sparkling green eyes looked at the man holding him. "I'm not your dad." Kyun still put on that cute face, calling out Papa, making him sigh helplessly. "Oh man." The radio on the table started switching to the next news. "We'll bring you the next bulletin." Cheon-ho suddenly paid attention when the news about the thief was broadcast. Due to a petty thief causing havoc lately, many merchants in Seodaman district are really stressed. The radio kept reporting, "We urge all citizens to be careful." Cheon-ho was sitting thoughtfully next to the radio. Kyun was fumbling around on the floor. He thought quietly, a petty thief obsessed with shiny things and food. Yeah, Kyun was holding a cup of water and approaching his papa. He held up the cup with sparkling eyes, making strange noises, "Wombo, wombo." Cheon-ho saw that and gently asked, "Do you want me to drink the water?" He was about to bring the cup to his lips when Cheon-ho was frantically stopped by Khan from the bathroom. His strange pose made everyone wonder what he had just gone through. "Don't drink that water, Kang Cheon-ho." Khan's face darkened with anger. The killing intent radiating from him seemed to engulf everything around. Seeing that, Cheon-ho quickly asked, "Why are you giving off such an unpleasant aura first thing in the morning?" Khan kept his eyes like he wanted to eat someone alive. "That water has a lot of bacteria." Cheon-ho was confused and listened to Khan explain. He just said, Today, Kyung just learned about wells from a comic book. Wells are where people draw water to drink. Cheon-ho's face darkened. That's right, and to that kid the toilet and a well looked the same? Because the chopsticks were still in his hand. Choi Jae-ho sighed and his face turned red like a ripe tomato. It looked like he just ate something amazing because the chopsticks were still in his hand. "Boss, this kokdugi is really good. Did you just make a new batch?" A plate of something with red chunks that looked pretty appetizing. Not sure if it's meat or some kind of root. The system name showed up with a question mark before the strange dish's name. Cheon-ho replied to Jae-ho, "I recently got some good ingredients from the Shin-tron area." They were discussing the food when Manu's call came, making him turn around. "Hello, boss." Manu walked in bringing Sangu with him. Cheon-ho greeted back, "Welcome, he's here with a friend today." Sangu was a bit surprised seeing Cheon-ho through the introduction from the old man beside him. "This is Captain Gam Sang-ho." That's good enough for Cheon-ho. Sangu also spoke, "Hello, I've heard a lot about you, that's good enough." For Cheon-ho, he thought, surprisingly, he's very polite. Yes, Ju stood up to join in with a greeting. "Lancer Wizard, hello?" Manhu seemed to recognize him. Yes, the old Awakened Association guy. Sang's face turned pale like he was about to soil himself, mumbling, "Yes, hello." It would be a pleasant afternoon if not for this group meeting. It would have been truly great. Ju heard that and just gave a dry laugh. Ha ha. Suddenly his attention went to Manu's welcoming face. "Oh my gosh, the guy next to you is an S-class, right?" Cheon-ho was a bit surprised and asked, "S-class?" Yeah, Mahu's face turned red like a ripe tomato when Jae-ho introduced himself to Cheon-ho. And the funny guy next to him kept rambling, "This is S-class Kim Mahu, the one who achieved an extraordinary feat in the Shincho dungeon boss fight last time, sir." Oh my god, his fame has spread all over the world. Moreover, Cheon-ho thought, "So here, if you're famous, you get a title added to your name." Mao smiled lightly. "It's all thanks to you, boss." Cheon-ho replied cheerfully, "No problem, I'm waiting for you at the restaurant." Yes, he turned back and offered, "Today I'll get ramen for you two, okay?" Sangu was already sitting neatly at the table. And the old man was fumbling to pull out a chair to sit. "Yes, for me too." Sangu also blurted out, rambling. Instead of answering like the old man, he strung together a bunch of words. "I suddenly craved ramen. Get me one just like that." Cheon-ho agreed. "Here's the ramen for you, sir." Kim Sang-gu was stunned by the way the old man next to him ate like a machine. When he lifted the bowl bigger than his head to slurp it down, after Manhu ate with his lips, the bowl was spotless. This surprised Kim Sang-gu. "Eating that much at once, you're amazing." The old man just blushed and laughed. "Heh heh heh." Kim Sang-gu suddenly said, "You go ahead, since you finished eating, go first. You said you have to go to your daughter's school today, right?" The old man seemed a bit surprised. "Anyway, I still think you should go first." Cheon-ho over here was reading the paper and glanced at the conversation. Kim Sang-gu kept talking non-stop. "No problem. It's better to enjoy your personal life after work. Our situation is always on standby, so rest when you can." Manhu saw that and asked to leave. "In that case, I'll go first." Seeing the two of them chatting lively, Cheon-ho continued reading the paper and thought, "Their relationship seems pretty good, huh?" Cheon-ho suddenly noticed the silence. It's too quiet. When he turned, he saw Sun-woo dozing off on the table, still holding his chopsticks with his other hand propping up his chin. Sun-woo's face was super handsome, like a CEO heartthrob dozing off. Then part of his memory flashed back with someone's scream, "Damn it!" At that time, Kim Sang-gu seemed very angry, grabbing the collar of a masked man in a black hat. "Are you crazy? Is there nothing else to mess with besides this sacred creature?" It was a nine-tailed fox with a fiery red glow. It looked like a very noble but dangerous creature, because with that appearance, its power wasn't ordinary. Its appearance caused the warriors below to panic greatly. They shouted something to the people far away. The red-haired girl was trying to shout something to the people far away, while the firefox was still burning the sky above. Suddenly it bit down hard with its sharp teeth, threw its head back, and opened its dangerous mouth, roaring. The fire's power grew more intense. Kim Sang-gu was dozing off at someone's table, mumbling a few sounds. Later, when he woke up, he saw Kang Cheon-ho sitting with his legs crossed, focused on reading the newspaper, oblivious to everything. Kim Sang-gu's voice rang out, catching Cheon-ho's attention, making him turn from his newspaper to look. "Oh no, it's so late already, I'm sorry." Seeing that Cheon-ho didn't beat around the bush, he replied coldly like ice. "No problem, there's no customers anyway." Seeing that Cheon-ho didn't beat around the bush, he coldly replied, "No problem, there aren't any customers left anyway." More than that, mid-conversation, Sang-gu glanced at the radio nearby broadcasting news because of the recent thieves. Many merchants are troubled. Moreover, midway through speaking, Sang-gu glanced at the radio nearby broadcasting news because of the thieves rampant. Lately, many merchants are stressed. He was mumbling incompletely. Then suddenly Sang-gu behind Cheon-ho asked, "Can I have a few bottles of booze? Can you give me a few bottles of alcohol?" If a customer asks, how can you say no? Hearing that, Cheon-ho put down the half-read paper on the table, stood up and replied, "Alcohol is fine, but our place only has soju and beer." Sang-gu's demanding voice rang out, asking for this and that. "It's giving me a headache." "Soju it is, bring whatever side dishes you think are good, boss Cheon-ho." After that, Cheon-ho rubbed his chin, thinking in his head. He was talking to himself about the ingredients he bought from the market today. "I can make okonomiyaki now." Then the boss Cheon-ho turned to Sang-gu and asked, "What about sashimi?" For some reason, Cheon-ho stood like a statue in the middle of the shop, even though there were empty chairs. His face went blank at sashimi, not understanding. He stared at Cheon-ho and asked back, "Sashimi?" Seeing the distinguished guest looking clueless like a fool, Cheon-ho smiled. 3 parts sneaky, 7 parts pleased, and replied, "That's right, I just got some quality ingredients because monsters appear through spatial rifts. A monster era has come to land." Cheon-ho pulled out a box with very flashy patterns. Who knows where Cheon-ho pulled out a box with very flashy patterns? The sea is in a similar state. A big fish was later placed on the cutting board, its body glistening, looking like it would be delicious when cooked. Fish species common on Earth 3 years ago are hard to find now, and monsters with similar tastes are caught to replace them. The fish on the cutting board looked like it had been dead for a while. Its mouth open, showing short, sharp teeth, its whole body dripping water. Kang Cheon-ho's thoughts echoed, "This one's called male fish. An adult can reach up to 3 meters, so this size is just a juvenile." Later, Cheon-ho bent down holding his sharp, shining knife, carefully cutting the fish. From the way he handled it, you could tell he was a pro chef cutting the fish while his mind wandered like he wasn't afraid of cutting his hand. You could say it tastes like white fish. If I have to compare it similar to sea bass or flounder. Cheon-ho cut the fish into different parts. Beside him was a stone basin where he put the finished pieces, making the meat firm up so it's chewier when eaten. When eating, he continued his habit of thinking while working. "In the past, I didn't like sashimi because it felt like an expensive dish with poor economic value. But once I knew the taste of sashimi, nothing beats it." The male fish sashimi was beautifully arranged on the plate that Cheon-ho served to Sang-gu. The plate wasn't just fish. There were many side dishes around it, making the fish look even more VIP, plus a plate of chili sauce and a plate of soy sauce with some wasabi. Serving the dish, Cheon-ho didn't forget to remind, "The dish is ready, try the angel hair radish below too." Kim Sang-gu picked up his chopsticks, grabbed a piece of sashimi soaked in soy sauce right in front of his face. He just stared at the fish piece, dripping soy sauce, mouth half open, mumbling, "It's been so long since I had sashimi." After smacking his lips, Sang-gu finally put the fish in his mouth with his chopsticks. He bit into the sashimi with a big chomp, still trying to say, "That's how you eat it." Just the first piece, and Sang-gu was wide awake, straightening his back, eyes bulging, eyebrows raised. Eyes bulging, eyebrows raised. Behind him, it felt like a sea of male fish was fluttering. After eating the sashimi, Sang-gu sighed, fresh and light combined with the subtle, cool taste of the angel hair radish. "It feels like all my fatigue has vanished." The boss would probably be thrilled if he knew his sashimi was praised to the skies. Just after one bite of sashimi, Sang-gu grabbed the soju cup and drank it down like someone might steal it. While chugging, he muttered, "If I take a sip of soju before the sashimi goes down." Kim Sang-gu chugged the soju cup, eyes shut tight, face scrunched up, then let out a long, "Ah!" Not only that, he yelled out in delight, clearly loving the dish. Sitting across from Cheon-ho Sang-gu relaxed with a sigh, then complained to Cheon-ho, "Finally, I feel like I'm getting some rest for the first time in a week." Hearing the tough customer's heartbreaking words, Cheon-ho just smirked and asked, "Is that so?" Two simple words that hit Kim Sang-gu's weak spot. When asked, he started complaining non-stop, chopsticks in hand, picking up another piece of sashimi while saying, "Yeah, the emergency is resolved, so I have about 2 days off. This is my first day off in 2 years, even though half the day is already gone. That was the monster extermination day." Sang-gu's story continued with an image of him alone holding a spear standing tall against dozens of dinosaur monsters, defeating them single-handedly. Fighting non-stop day after day, it's really mentally draining. Dozens of monsters with various shapes kept pouring out of that weird power hole in the sky, jumping into the crowded city from cows to pigs to chickens, all kinds and sizes, Kim Sang-gu said. The monsters just kept flooding out of the spatial rift non-stop, no time to rest. While complaining, he suddenly looked at his spear and smiled, 3 parts proud, 7 parts boastful. "This is a personal weapon given to awakened level 2 or higher upon graduating from cipher school." Seeing the distinguished guest showing off, Cheon-ho instinctively glanced at Sang-gu's weapon. His ears still had to listen to the bragging. Made from a mineral called adamantium, it's great at absorbing mana. Looking at the long, sharp spear shining with a golden aura, Kim Sang-gu continued his proud speech to the handsome boss Cheon-ho. "I felt proud until I graduated from cipher school with honors. I can save the world with my abilities. I'm not afraid of anything in this world as long as I have a spear." Wow, listening to an inexperienced person talk is annoying. While bragging, Sang-gu suddenly switched to talking about the twist in his life. An image of him standing lost with his spear among the rushing crowd appeared along with his story. "But when I experienced the real world, that pride completely vanished. I guess you're going to say there's always a bigger mountain." What the hell? Midway through his story, Kim Sang-gu suddenly guessed what the boss was thinking. But without waiting for Cheon-ho to answer, he continued, "It didn't take long for me to realize I was just a small entity in this vast world opposite of what I thought." Complaining freely. Sang-gu raised his hands in the air, stretching until he shivered, mouth still mumbling. "I was assigned to Eastgate 15. Oh, it was tough." Hearing Kim Sang-gu's long, tragic life story, Cheon-ho's face showed no emotion. He just coldly looked at Sang-gu and thought, "Yeah, I was like that too." Sang-gu's story stirred up Cheon-ho's past. In his mind, an image of Cheon-ho kneeling humbly like a dog amid the ruins of buildings with countless swords stabbed into the ground around him. At the same time, an image of him kneeling on the ground, but the scene in front was completely different. Instead of ruins in front of him was a modern, luxurious room. Recalling that image, Cheon-ho thought, "Not just awakened anyone is like that." On days like that, the best way is to laugh bitterly and take a sip of soju. Kim Sang-gu's hand grabbed the soju bottle again and poured another full glass. Now, Cheon-ho finally spoke up to start a conversation with Sang-gu. Cheon-ho stared at Sang-gu and complimented to console, "Aren't you the guardian of Seodamun, one of Korea's 5 guardians?" Pretty impressive, pretty impressive. Even though he was complimented, Sang-gu didn't seem happy or embarrassed. Instead, he looked blank and slumped, mumbling, "Really?" He looked at the wine glass, reflecting his wrinkled face. Not sure why he looked so down, like he lost his ration book. At that moment, Sang-gu was still complaining while fidgeting. "The lives and future hopes of many people rest on my shoulders, so sometimes it's overwhelming." Oh, so it's stress. It started raining outside. Like the tranquility inside the shop. Only Kim Sang-gu was sitting with his eyes shut tight, raising his glass to his mouth and gulping. Cheon-ho's voice rang out, asking, "Do you have any memories in your head?" Hearing that, Kim Sang-gu lowered his glass and put his hand on the table. He replied casually and coldly to Cheon-ho, "Of course I do." In front of Cheon-ho's staring face now, Kim Sang-gu asked back, "Handsome boss, do you know about the 9-tailed fox?" Seeing the rain starting, it suddenly made Sang-gu remember his past. He started his long, tragic life story again. "Now I remember that was also a rainy day. That day it rained like this. Kim Sang-gu and his teammates ran like demons through a road full of cracked dirt and stones. There were cars parked all around. He ran while yelling, 'You idiot, who the hell woke up the sleeping 9-tailed fox?' His teammate heard and replied, 'It was the gentleman.' Hearing that Sang-gu got annoyed, glared back, face scrunched up, and asked, "Why would a level 2 do something like that?" He stood in the rain, his whole body soaked from head to toe, looking pathetic. The giant nine-tailed fox was standing tall in the middle of the city in front of Kim Sang-gu and his teammates. Its tails looked like fluttering flames in the air. There were birds flying non-stop in the sky, making it look even more majestic. His teammate's voice rang out, "That's what we're trying to find out." Back to reality. Kim Sang-gu stared at Cheon-ho and kept telling the story. Creatures with superior intelligence, like the nine-tailed fox, are often called divine beasts. There are many types of divine beasts, usually considered infinite, meaning, don't mess with them, leave them alone. For some unknown reason, divine beasts don't fight humans. There are no records of their attacks in the last 35 years, and they silently create their own territories that no one knows about, living in solitude, so they're usually hard to find. But someone messed with it. Remembering that fateful day it was raining just like this. Kim Sang-gu stood behind a man wearing a hat and a long coat almost covering his legs, looking very mysterious. Not only that, eagles kept flying in to perch on his shoulders. He didn't know what was wrong, but the man just stood there motionless. He didn't know what was wrong, but the man just stood there stiffly. Kim Sang-gu didn't care about what was wrong with him. He hurriedly ran over, grabbed his shoulder, face annoyed, and asked, "Hey, sir, what the hell did you do?" Flipping faces faster than flipping a book, he called him sir before, and now he's cursing him as a jerk. The mysterious man turned around, his face gray like he was in panic. Seeing that Kim Sang-gu felt uneasy, his face darkened and he hesitated. "Why you?" But before he finished, his teammate approached from behind. Not sure what she saw, but her eyes bulged and she shouted, "Captain the Nine-Tailed Fox!" As soon as she said that, a nine-tailed fox as big as 2 trucks appeared. Its tails looked like blazing flames lighting up the sky red. Its eyes shone like car headlights, mouth wide open, showing sharp teeth. From its perspective, people like Kim Sang-gu were no bigger than grains of sand. Seeing the nine-tailed fox, Kim Sang-gu just stood below and shouted orders, "Line up!" That's an infinite nine-tailed fox. Kim Sang-gu had summoned a lot of people for help, but he was still worried sick. Kim Sang-gu stood under the rain, still having to fight the giant fox. His mouth didn't stop for a second. He ordered one thing after another. "Vanguard team advance. I'll go with you all. I'll lead the way." As soon as Kim Sang-gu yelled, he ran straight to where the nine-tailed fox was angrily spitting fire behind. Its face was wrinkled like a dried persimmon, probably very pissed. The nine-tailed fox was ready, waiting for Kim Sang-gu's team to come for a one-on-one fight. Suddenly, a red magic sphere appeared among its tails. It looked like it was absorbing power to prepare an attack. Guessing that the nine-tailed fox burst into flames like a moving fire. After that, its whole body shot out countless fireballs toward the city below. Kim Sang-gu's teammate just stared at the fireball, making her eyes now only see red mixed with a bit of gold. Joking around for some reason, Kim Sang-gu's whole team suddenly stood still. The whole group was like frozen, dazed enough that everyone dropped their weapons on the ground, not wanting to fight anymore. Seeing the dire situation and having to take care of his stupid teammates, Kim Sang-gu was furious and red-faced. He dodged the fireballs the nine-tailed fox was wildly shooting, while turning to remind his teammates, "You idiots don't look straight at the fire. You'll have hallucinations." Truly a captain with heart and vision. His loyal teammate with him shouted, "Captain, it's coming!" As soon as she said that, the shield slammed hard into the ground. A big flame shot straight at where she and Kim Sang-gu stood, but luckily she quickly used magic to block the scary flame. She held the shield with one hand against the nine-tailed fox's flame, and with the other hand raised to summon a magic circle like in fairy tale. She grimaced and murmured some incomprehensible language. Later, dozens of magic shields appeared in the sky, surrounding the nine-tailed fox's body. It kept angrily flaring up, eyes fixed on Kim Sang-gu and his teammates below. Kim Sang-gu later frowned, spreading his legs. He gripped his magic spear tightly and pointed it forward, body ready for battle. His teammate's voice rang out again, "Captain, hurry!" Kim Sang-gu jumped onto the magic shields his teammate summoned in the sky. He dashed forward like Sonic, and in a few seconds he jumped in front of the nine-tailed fox. Kim Sang-gu's face darkened, mouth wide open, yelling, "Die in silence!" At the same time, he raised his spear and prepared to stab it straight into the nine-tailed fox's throat. The fox's eyes widened in surprise. Suddenly looking into its eyes made Kim Sang-gu freeze in shock. Not sure what was there, but he frowned tightly. The fox hit by the critical blow had gray eyes and nose, no future in sight. Its mouth still gaped open, showing sharp teeth. The raid on the nine-tailed fox continued through the night. Kim Sang-gu was telling the story while returning to reality. His hand still gripped the soju glass on the table but didn't bring it to his mouth anymore. His head bowed sadly, mouth still mumbling. Finally, when we succeeded in the conquest amid the cheers, I heard a cry. Neatly nestled in the soft, warm tails of the giant nine-tailed fox was a tiny fox cub sleeping with its eyes shut, looking as cute as a puppy. Seeing the fox cub sleeping peacefully, Kim Sang-gu's face darkened like he saw a ghost. He silently wondered, a baby. Kim Sang-gu shut his eyes tight, hand holding the soju glass, mumbling, the eagle that the gentleman released to hunt the nine-tailed fox baby when the mother left the nest. The predator's instinct must have detected a weak one. Finishing, he raised the glass and chugged it, mumbling about the tragic story. It was probably a mistake. He was outstanding at Schiffer School, even someone like that made a mistake. But after drinking the glass like he was energized, he slammed it on the table, face scrunched in determination. We can't make a mistake like that. Hearing that, Kim Sang-gu just turned and replied briefly, oh yes. Unfortunately, we destroyed it. But he turned back to stare at Cheon-ho, hand on his neck, sighing as he continued. Anyway, let's not go into the process. When it got to that point, there was no other choice. That's how the nine-tailed fox incident ended. The media talked about it on radio and papers for 2 years before. You didn't even glance at Sung-gu? Cheon-ho's voice rang out praising Sung-gu. I think that was a good choice. Suddenly, praised Kim Sang-gu didn't even smile. He just frowned and rubbed the back of his neck, laughing awkwardly, then asked, is that so? As soon as he asked, without waiting for the other to answer, Kim Sang-gu propped his hands on the table and stood up, preparing to turn and leave. I've talked nonsense too much. Suddenly I feel relaxed, maybe because it's the first time I've had soju in a long time. Oh right, can you make a sashimi to go? If the customer asked, Cheon-ho could only agree. What else could he say? Cheon-ho just replied briefly. Sure. The rain had stopped by then and darkness covered the sky. Kim Sang-gu had his hands in his pockets. The scene cuts to Kyun stretching and waking up. He dreamily ran to where Cheon-ho was sleeping soundly, the light shining in, making him uncomfortable and tossing and turning. Kyun gently raised his hand to pet his head. Even though he accidentally scratched Cheon-ho's foot, he still smiled widely. Kyun hugged his growling, hungry stomach. He hurriedly dragged the chair twice his size to the fridge, then jumped up, climbing the chair to reach the big door. Kyun opened the fridge and found a radish inside. He picked up the withered radish that was shaking, looking like an old man's face. Sang thought silently. Suddenly, the radish screamed loudly. Kyun was confused, bit the radish, and immediately spat it out because he couldn't eat it. Cheon-ho peeked in. Helpless, said, this kid seeing Kyun's peaceful sleep, he angrily affirmed, when he wakes up, I have to scold him. Khan wondered, did he eat it all? No wonder I sensed fox energy. Cheon-ho picked him up. It's really strange, but it seems right. This kid is something else. Where have you been these past few days? I haven't seen you around. Khan immediately replied, I was researching the conditions for spatial rift formation by going to places where they appeared. Cheon-ho teased, oh, diligent. That's our job. Did you find anything? Khan shyly continued. Nothing, just saw the usual monsters from the Hell continent. That statement caught Cheon-ho's attention. Monsters. He sarcastically said, but you're not a monster, right? Khan angrily shouted, dragons are a noble race. How dare you compare me to them? Him. Cheon-ho glanced and thought, so at least there's a possibility that dragons or something worse have appeared from the spatial rift. He picked up the withered radish that was shaking. Did I overlook this? He spoke up to remind, if you find anything strange during the investigation, report it to me. Khan agreed. Yeah, okay. He continued. Cheon-ho, you've reached the level of a 6th grade master, but you can't control the spatial rift. Ma. Cheon-ho heard that and dismissed it. No, I don't even know who created them or why they appeared. But Khan wondered, so how did you return to this world? Cheon-ho replied, that's a long story. It's been dozens of eras since I defeated the Demon King. Later, when I have time, I'll tell you about it. Khan continued, okay. Cheon-ho said, let's go buy some food first. The sky was clear and a voice rang out, in summer you absolutely must have that dish. In the outskirts, Shin Tron concealed herself and set foot down, using her hands to survey the surroundings.